This video is brought to you by Mubi, a curated online streaming service showing exceptional films from around the globe. Get your first month for free at mubi.com/royalocean. Peter Jackson wants you to spy.
2 take 1, silent turnover.
That may sound hyperbolic, but I think it would make for a pretty alluring tagline for his latest film, The Beatles Get Back. A project that transforms the 60 hours of raw footage and 150 hours of audio recordings that original director Michael Lindsay Hogg and his team captured in January of 1969 into an 8-hour, 3-part series marked in particular by just how little actually happens during its runtime.
Morning everybody. Another bright day, morning Cameron.
And yet, I don't think I'm alone when I say that the series was nothing less than a transportive experience. I watched the documentary in pieces over the course of a week, but every time that I tuned back in, I was surprised by just how quickly I felt immersed in it. Get Back is hardly salacious material, but it does possess all of the addictiveness of a trashy reality TV show. And I think that's due in large part to the more naturalistic approach that Jackson and editor Jabez Olson take to the footage. There aren't any interviews here, there are no talking heads, no narration track, even the on-screen titles tend to act more like footnotes, naming a song or explaining a reference that someone will make. The burden of the story's rhythm is instead placed on a constant flow of overlapping voices and instruments jamming together.
And now your host for this evening, The Buckle.
It's a kind of hyper-observational style in that sense, and the effect is often a mesmerizing one, turning the viewer into a spy, invited behind the curtain to eavesdrop.
Oh, you recording our conversation?
For Beatles fans, this is surely heaven. For Jackson, I actually think that this is a natural step forward for him as a director. It may not look like it at first glance, but I think Get Back is completely of a piece with the rest of his filmography. Thematically, it's almost like a real-life forgotten silver that has him granted unprecedented access to a holy grail of lost footage. But I think it goes far deeper than that. Because, well, he's always wanted us to spy.
You spend a lot of time, I think, maybe not, on the DVDs.
And action!
Welcome to the appendices of the supplemental materials. And welcome to the King Kong archives. Okay, cut.
Yeah, I love it. I love DVDs. I'm a big DVD fan. I love collecting other people's DVDs, and so the fun of doing your own is just it's really cool.
Behind-the-scenes footage has long been something of a creative obsession for Jackson, so much so that it's arguably just simply become a staple of his work, something that's inseparable from his films as a whole. Going all the way back to the footage culled together for the Laserdisc of The Frighteners in the mid-90s, the home video releases of the films he's directed have set a standard in making of documentaries that's rarely been equaled.
I wanted to, create a very detailed, comprehensive making of behind-the-scenes package for a special Laserdisc edition, because I was very much aware that people that bought these special editions were interested in as truthful account as possible.
Like so many of the great behind-the-scenes documentaries, like Burden of Dreams, like Hearts of Darkness, there's long been a sense of transparency that's marked the features created for Jackson's movies. I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say that this is one of the key things that's endeared so many fans to these films, and even to Jackson himself. It's one of the things I've long admired about his relationship with the audience, how insistent he's been about inviting viewers to hang out for a while behind the camera, and how open he's been in sharing so many of the joys, the frustrations, the headaches, the anxieties, even the chaos of the productions. It's fitting in that sense that the features in question are often referred to as production diaries, so many of them act like little memoirs in and of themselves. The 3 verite-style documentaries that filmmaker Costa Botes made that cover the Lord of the Rings production feel that way especially, each of them crafted in the same naturalistic style Jackson employed for Get Back, that opted for a more fly-on-the-wall approach to explore the minutiae of the day-to-day production process, the camera freely wandering all around the set, hanging out with the actors between takes, poking around and snooping on the hundreds of craftsmen toiling away day in, day out like an army slowly pushing forwards.
I think I better go learn my lines and forget about this for a while.
1, 2, 3, 4.
It's only natural, then, that a filmmaker so committed to the idea of behind-the-scenes footage like Jackson should wind up directing a narrative based around that very idea, watching a group of creatives toil away for hours and hours and hours and hours. That's, of course, been one of the biggest talking points surrounding Get Back. Its mammoth marathon runtime. And it's true, the narrative here often feels meandering and shapeless as it's progressing. Jackson's never been a stranger to excess, but I do think that the looseness here is intentional. I'm not the first one to suggest it, but watching it, you feel as though you're watching maybe the purest hangout movie ever made. It's a film that you don't just watch so much as you live with.
My rock and roll finger is bleeding.
One of the keys in crafting such a laid-back vibe like that is in the protracted way that time itself is treated. This is one of the hallmarks of the hangout movie, the way that time is made to feel stretched out. Think about the movies that Richard Linklater has made. As viewers, we're conscious of the passage of time. We're experiencing it right alongside the characters on screen. There's time afforded to just hang around, time to kill, time to be bored.
Lid on the parrot's cage.
In that sense, Get Back is a documentary that's far more about experience rather than just pure information.
What, darling?
At its heart, its story is one of process. It's about the wrangling together of separate minds and egos to hash out what will eventually become the famous rooftop concert. It's about the evolving nature and purpose of the documentary itself, and about the process of managing a world-famous band very clearly running on fumes. That's something that sits at the back of all of this. A lingering sense of doom. Not only a feeling that each of the four have outgrown the band, but that any present creative efforts are... oh, what's a good metaphor?
Thin, sort of stretched like butter scraped over too much bread. I need a holiday. A very long holiday.
You know, the creative process is such an internal thing. The truest depiction of it often looks like nothing at all. That's why when we see it on screen, there's such a focus on the extremes. The grand moments of divine inspiration and the worst depths of writer's block. Get Back showcases both, but along with everything in between. Watching Paul come up with the initial ideas for Get Back is indeed one of the series' major highlights. But such a moment of inspiration is only the beginning.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Of the series' many charms, this is the one that I think might be the most special, the foregrounding of the song's slow evolution, following the band as they grind it out over the next couple of weeks until they can't hardly stand it anymore.
Shit back.
But staying with them as they stay with it, workshopping the song over and over and over and over. In my own experience, this might be the truest portrait of what the creative process really looks like. It's messy and headache-inducing and marred by constant interruptions and procrastination and is probably fueled by desperation more than anything else. But at its best, there's a kind of steadiness that exists in between the extremes of just simply showing up and chipping away at something bit by bit.
Okay, do it from the beginning. I'm in love for the first love.
That's why I'd argue that the protracted length of the series is in fact vital. It's the whole point. You could cut a 2-hour version of Get Back that would hit the highlights, but you would lose all of the lulls where nothing much seems to happen. And those are all as much a part of the creative process as anything else. For Jackson, this feels like a summation of something he's been trying to get at for years. There's a direct line from him inviting cameras behind the scenes on something like The Frighteners or Lord of the Rings to what I think he's trying to highlight here with the Fab Four. He's always wanted the creative process, be it filmmaking or otherwise, to be demystified. For a process that's often glorified as something magical to be brought down to earth and depicted as it really is. That's the through line that runs through all of this. And I think that there's a real value in seeing such a thing. It sounds weird to say, but for me at least, there's a kind of comfort in knowing that the people you admire struggled like hell in making the things that you love. There's something relieving about it, and in a way, something freeing. There's a novelty, of course, in just seeing the Beatles at work. Like all the great hangout movies, it's hard not to come away feeling as though you've hung out with a group of new friends. But the opportunity to watch great artists show up day after day to hash it out in the hopes that they'll get something that works is something really special. That's one of the perks of being invited to Spy.
Goodbye. See you tomorrow. Okay. 1, 2, 5, 6.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching. This video is brought to you by the good folks at Mubi. If you don't know, Mubi is a curated streaming service that premieres a new film every day. From exciting work by up-and-coming filmmakers, to timeless classics from master directors, to cult favorites you've never seen, there's always something new to discover. And in the age of numerous streaming services, I think theirs is a strategy that's really brilliant. With Mubi, I found that I wind up spending significantly less time browsing through endless titles and adding a bunch of things to watch lists that I've never seemed to be able to get through, and more time actually watching. And for me, it's resulted in the discovery of a host of great new films I'd never even heard of before. You can stream or download their movies on any screen or device, anytime, anywhere. I can't recommend them enough. If you're interested in giving Mubi a try, you can get an entire month of great cinema for free by going to Mubi.com/RoyalOcean to sign up today.